because I have 17 years of experience in physical therapy. Highly sensitive, history of trauma, so I had to figure out my own way to live in a more regulated state rather than the roller coaster that many of us are familiar with. And I would like to share the tools that work with me, and it's tools piled on top of a construct and a way of thinking. So,
the green one's better.
of course it is. My business is called Green Tree Mind. But I'm going to actually very intentionally use orange. So if this is a 10 and this is minus 10 and this is your 0, there's often this belief that we need to live in 0. That's not a reasonable expectation in my experience. Life is a little bit of up and a little bit of down. Our nervous system is what creates our entire experience of consciousness, both conscious and unconscious. And it's always on. 400 billion actions per second in your non-conscious mind. You have 100 billion neurons capable of 100 trillion connections. So essentially we are possibillionaires with all of the connections we can make. But we get stuck. But it's a distinction that it's not us that gets stuck, it's our nervous system that gets stuck. Mm-hmm. So we are not our nervous system. But the nervous system can get stuck and trick us and make us think we're stuck. So, anybody heard of fight or flight response? Mm-hmm. Okay, that's an expression of the sympathetic branch of your nervous system. Mm-hmm. Fight or flight in the sympathetic nervous system is normal and healthy. We need it, we want it. It's a good thing. When it's done in a window of this regulated window of tolerance that I call our green zone. Green, 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 green. Green trees, because trees look like neurons. So it's a really easy way to wrap yourself around, where is my nervous system right now? So if you were to check in, right, I can make my muscle real tight and I know it's a 10 out of 10 tightness. But what is the state of your nervous system right now? Does it feel like it's at a nice, calm, equal 0, 2, 3, 4, 5? Or is it perhaps living in a little bit more of an elevated state? So check in right now, in and around your mind and your body, and notice what you notice. None of it's right or wrong, good or bad. Simply invoking curiosity awakens your own green trees because you're becoming aware of your own experience. Who would like to share what they're aware of right now? Anybody? Yeah.
Well, interestingly enough, I had a spinal cord injury that paralyzed me. And when you're recovering, you really get in tune with yourself. So it's like the ones that are on are like elevated, but then there's like missing patches. And so then those ones are like dormant. So it's really weird. So it's like going through a cave of caverns, I guess.
That's really beautiful language about the cave. I really want the black to work, but so up here I call this our red trees. When our system's in a state of alert, we're in a heightened sympathetic state. And what's normal, again in these 400 billion actions per second, is that our system go boom, fight or flight. To every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, and then we come back into a regulated state. What's the instrument called?
A Stradivarius.
A Stradivarius. If we were to put a Stradivarius into an equalizer bar, you'd see all these different levels. And the song of our life is like an equalizer bar, where we'll have some programs running in an elevated state, And some programs running in a hyperparasympathetic state, which can be disorienting and confusing and make our song of life come out a little less ideal than we'd want it to. So we can have parts of us living down here in a hyperparasympathetic state, and here our gut doesn't work very well. We check out a lot, we dissociate, we numb, we tune out. Down in here, we tend to also have depression and a lot of gut-brain disorders, migraine headaches, irritable bowel symptoms, stuff like that. Up here, when parts are stuck here, we'll tend to have more anxiety, higher energy, like go, 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 I can't stop, that anxious-induced relaxation, because if I stop, it makes me anxious and nervous, and then I have to keep going. And those people that feel like a whirling dervish of energy, and then you're around them and you get swooped up right with them. Is this making sense?
I find when I'm around people that are really heightened like that, because I work with somebody, I don't get caught up with them so much as they just drain me. I just feel like they just suck all the energy out of me. I'm like, you're too much. I have to be away from you.
Right. What I hear in that is a brilliant rhythm of your empath energy is balancing the system. Because we're always wanting and trying to live in our green state. Mm-hmm. And so you stepped up to the plate and offered up your energy to calm hers down using your own parasympathetic.
Maybe I'm too far down in the other zone.
I think it's a balance, because I do that.
Yeah.
I do that. I calm people down.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the time.
So, I'd love to speak to your question about the difficulty with disengaging. If our system hasn't gone through this cycle of all the way up, all the way down, it can't return into a regulated state. And so the system will go up and down trying to correct itself, or it'll stay up. And I think a lot of people that have highly sensitive systems live more up there, and so it takes less input to their nervous system to get them to hit a 10, and then they'll crash. So let's just see what we can do. Our nervous system is like a computer. There's input, there's processing, there's output. And output is our experience of consciousness, what we're aware of now. Go ahead and take a moment to just do a self-assessment. Notice what state of affairs would you say your nervous system's in? Does it feel like you're more in the whirling dervish 10 out of 10 hurricane? Or are you a little more flat, low energy, black? Now, I'm going to invite everybody to just notice their breath. You don't necessarily need to change it. And instead of trying to control your breath, get curious about what your breath wants to do. Does it want to stop altogether? Does it want to breathe really fast so it can match your nervous system? Does it want to go slow and regulated? And just follow what your breath wants to do and let your breath comfort you, rather than you control it. Mm-hmm. And see if you can follow your breath of its own volition and accord back into a regulated state of green. Oftentimes people notice their breath pattern changes a little bit. Maybe their ribs expand a little bit more, maybe they breathe a little deeper, after they've allowed the system to do what it authentically wants to do. So that's one little trick that I've learned, to stop trying to control my breath, because then my mind's trying to take over my body, instead of letting my body go through the cycle of completion, which then allows me to disengage. Anybody have anything they want to share about that? What they noticed, what they experienced? And if not, that's totally cool. Yeah.
Is there a way to kind of do something to be in charge of your body and at night when you've been having strange visions for a year now? I've been having them for a year now, and I don't know what to do to be more in that seat, like to really be able to.
Right. So what I'm hearing you say is that the visions create an experience in your body and your mind that's unpleasant for you.
Not always, but yeah, more not than.
More
But
not.
just trying to understand this is different than a dream. My eyes are wide open and I see shadow people and strange things. I didn't know if there's a way to.
What I'm noticing about your posture is that your legs are in and your arms are in. And there's nothing wrong with that. If there is a presence in my space, like the guy 30 feet back, my natural, normal reaction is gonna be to get smaller so that I can protect my vital organs. It's really important for my survival, so well done. And what I see happen a lot is that the body and the brain are a two-way street and they operate on feedback loops. And so I will naturally respond to something that my brain perceives as scary or threatening and go little. The challenge with that is that now my brain is receiving outer input of threat and fear, and my body is sending messages up to my brain. There is a threat, there is danger, keep spitting out cortisol, keep spitting out adrenaline, keep running fight or flight, excessive chemistry, and that can fuel a pattern of getting stuck in roller coaster or extreme up or extreme down. And we can interrupt that feedback loop by using our body. And what that looks like is imagine yourself getting a little bit taller. Maybe, and join me right now, everybody. Get a little bigger in your posture. So knees apart, feet uncrossed. Grow a little taller out of your sitting bones. Imagine your head is a balloon and let it rise. Imagine your collarbones are getting a little bit wider. And bring your attention to what you notice about your body right now. And it might feel more comfortable, it might feel less comfortable. There's no right or wrong here, we're just looking for cause and effect. When I input or give this cause, how does it affect? When the body, the nervous system receives this stimulus, how does it respond? So right now we're putting in green stimulus of your body telling your brain, I'm powerful, I'm strong, I'm capable, you can mind me even, right? Amy Cuddy did a great power pose. Supergirl, and get a little big. And now, how does your nervous system feel? Does it feel different?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, what do you notice?
I just feel free
Good.
and curious and like, yeah, we rock!
Yeah.
Well, what's weird
We got this.
when you were talking about, there's outside stimulus and you go like this, and I don't know whether it's because I lived in New York City for 3 years or what, but my intuition is to go the complete opposite. Yeah, I'm looking for a fight. Come on, come on. And you know me, I automatically,
Put your back up.
yeah, I do, and I don't.
That's brilliant. So that's your body's response to threat. Like you level up. Don't me motherfucker. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Bring it. And she knows me. I'm like, bring it.
Yeah, so her system was expressing a different
Yeah.
way than yours. So I'm inviting her system to borrow some of your energy
Go ahead.
that is self-generated.
Because I end up putting people off sometimes because they're like, don't stop fighting, you don't know. Get your conscience down a little bit. So yeah, you can take some of my attitude.
I think that's the most brilliant thing is to know where your nervous system is at. None of it is right or wrong or good or bad. It just is what it is based upon all of the stuff that's ever happened to you in your life and all of the stuff that's happening in the world. It's not little, it's big, and our systems are reflections of that. And true power comes from A, knowledge of self, when we know where our system is on this scale, and then have the tools and abilities to move more into green from wherever we're at. And this is physical stuff. Like our nervous system's like a muscle. The more we work it in any given direction, the better it gets at that direction. So the more neural pathways we run this way, the better we get at them. Same here, same here. So when we're down here feeling frightened and scared, how do we get bigger and more powerful and strong and say, hey, because it's an energy that's doing what it's doing to you. You can talk to it, you can work to it, and you might try a different way of doing it from here instead of in here. And see what happens. Opposite, when you're in this extreme and it's not necessarily appropriate or needed for the situation, because my hindbrain misinterprets a funny look for a lion that's going to kill me all the time.
Right.
Or like this morning, I had an expectation of somebody to do something and they didn't. And you should see the fucking fierceness that comes out in me. And I know, because I've established these rules for myself, life goes better when I come from here. The roots of my trees create the fruits of my life.
It's beautiful.
Now there's nothing wrong with here. I need this when there is a legitimate threat. But for somebody that just forgot to call me, taking out a machete and letting them really have it may not give me the best outcomes that I want in my body, mind, or life. So in that case, this is a cool tool. I want everybody to take their arm. And I want you to bring it across, and I want you to put your mouth in here. And what we're all gonna do is from our belly, scream into our arm. Ready? 1, 2, 3. And now notice what you feel in your body. It's a great way to get that energy, whatever it is, out. It may be yours, it may not be, but in a case where we're around people where we can't disengage and shake it off because we're still doing it, it's because our system's stuck here and we haven't completed yet. And so the scream into space creates the freedom of energy. And then our nervous system can move more into the state of our original design, which is goodness. Shame lives down here. I've been crawling my way out of that hole for a while over the past couple weeks. It's unpleasant. Again, not bad, but when we live there, it's not comfortable. I like 80-20 if I can. But again, it takes time to retrain your nervous system.
And I just realized where my is coming from. Mama bear.
Oh.
Something that's in the last 24 hours that has resurfaced, and I'm in mama bear state.
Yeah.
That's exactly
When you
what it
said
is.
that, I was like, oh, that's the bear.
Mama
Because
bear.
bears will chase that which they are afraid of.
Mm-hmm.
They will literally turn on it, stand up, and chase it when they are in that danger mode. They're just like, rah! I was like, oh, that's the bear, honey.
Well,
We
and
just
it
need to
has-
get
it
you
has
some
to hand my
honey.
kids.
We just need to get you some honey. We'll be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by God, they say that if you want to win a war, stick a mama bear on the front line, you'll win it every time. Yeah. But it's okay.
Yeah, we got it all.
We got it.
We got it at least figured out. So,
That's perfect.
not ideal, but it's figured out.
Okay. Eat some salmon.
Eat
And
some
honey.
salmon.
And berries.
And berries.
I can't eat salmon right now,
Oh,
but honey, I can.
good.
Berries.
Yes.
Yeah. Or you can, go into a cave. When I'm here, I have this big red fuzzy blanket, and I'll just go into the cave and do lots of different things. And then when my body's ready, I'll come out. But it's a way to honor what's there. We spend so much time trying to think our way out of the state that we're in, instead of letting it complete through the cycle, that's natural.
When I found, like, if I go into depression mode, and I used to feel guilty about being depressed, and like you said, you're trying to kind of get your head to get you out of it, because you feel like, well, what's wrong with me? I shouldn't be thinking this, I shouldn't feel like this. And now I finally gotten to the point where if I go way down, I'll just ride it out, and usually what I find is, it'll maybe last 24 hours. I mean, I may go into this really deep place, and then I'll go to bed, get a decent night's sleep, and then all of a sudden it's a new day, and I just let it kind of wash through me, and you can move on.
Yeah, yeah. What I'm hearing is a beautiful state of allowing your system to run through its natural cycle. That's what nature is. It's a cycle of rhythmic expansion and contraction and contraction and expansion. And we often fear that, and so we inadvertently get ourselves stuck, like, oh, I don't want to contract because it's scary down there, and it is. So dosing it in ways that are tolerable for our system.
So how can people get a hold of you if they want to do individual one-on-one work?
I have business cards, and my name is Renee, R-E-N-E-E, at greentreemind.com. And my last thing is that I want to say the shaking thing is good, but in my experience, to make these neuroplastic changes that stick, we need to be checking in and doing something every 40 to 60 minutes. Because if we just let life do all the input, we'll go whoop, and we'll match it. We have to put in our own input to carve it down and live more here, where we can still be empathic and sensitive, but not so reactive and living on the roller coaster of life, because our nervous system has adapted to life. Like, we have to take a stand and say, I want to have a different experience, and I'm the one that gets to create it by putting new input into my system. Gosh darn it, I'm giving myself 5 gold stars right now. Yay.